Welcome back. We're here in the shop with our next project. This is the Mini XRX, and it is one of the smallest go-karts you can get your hands on. We got ours with the help of our friends over at Go Power Sports, and it doesn't have an engine, and it's a little dirty, but that's perfect because we got a lot of modifications and big plans in store for this thing.
Ever since we started this YouTube channel, I've been talking to Joe and Daniel about building a Mini XRX. The first time we saw these in Go Power Sports, I always wanted to have one and make it do giant wheelies. So we have these big, meaty, long life tires from Go Power Sports, and we have a 40 horsepower, 300cc snowmobile engine. So since we got this big old motor, we basically have to redo the entire drivetrain back there. So we have the Comet 94C driver pulley, a Go Power Sports 780 driven pulley. We have all the little goodies like these sliding jack shaft mounts, bearing hangers, brakes, a sprocket, and as usual, all the links for these parts are in the description from gopowersports.com.
Jason, how tall are you?
I'm 6'2", and this is a go-kart for 2 children, so a bit of a small fit.
Yeah, I think you're a bit larger than 2 children.
Yeah, if I sit upright, you can almost see over. But yeah, so we'll have to do some modifications for safety because we don't want our heads chopped off, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, buckle up. We're gonna do a wheelie simulator.
Wow. Okay, you full throttle.
Where's the limit of the wheelie? Okay, so the back of the frame is on the ground.
This is.
How do you feel?
Oh, this is sketchy, dude.
Are you terrified? Yeah, that's. It can go more too.
Oh.
How do you feel?
That's good. That's good.
Okay. All right, let's set her down. All right.
Okay.
Watch your head.
Yep.
Oh. At least it has some suspension.
Yeah, that would have been worse, but man.
Whew. This is gonna be a wild ride.
We got the axle all loosened up. So what we're hoping for is that we can use these existing bearing hangers for our new axle, but we'll have to see.
Lovely.
That sounded nice. Ta-da. Well, unfortunately, our stock bearings for the XRX do not fit our upgraded 1-inch bearings. So we're gonna have to be cutting off all this stuff, deciding on a location, welding it all up. So some more work, but kind of expected.
We've got our axle and new wheels and tires just kind of mocked up right now so we can test the engine fitment. Okay. Let's see our packaging will be. Okay.
Okay, the weird exhaust actually isn't that bad. It kind of tucks around
Yeah, it
and
loops under.
I was expecting it to be horrible.
It looks weird. It'll keep our gas warm too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alright. Here we go. I have a feeling the kart's gonna end up like this after we take it on our first drive. Got a little bit more to go, but that looks plenty strong already.
See the new stance. Cool. I like it.
Yeah,
It sticks out a little bit, but honestly not that much.
He's got that forward rake. Here comes the 780. This is a nice tight belt, so we don't have to take up too much room. So after a bunch of grinding, we got all of our seat mounts and our shock mounts cut off. And that allows us to relocate these shocks inboard, which will make our jack shaft nice and happy sitting up close towards the seat. We just cut up our exhaust mount, but that'll let us tilt it a little bit to the left and back. That'll give us some more room between the exhaust and the frame. There we go. It was a little bit of a challenge to get everything to fit in this tight space, but everything's in and we can show it now that the engine's out. We got the engine plate, torque converter, jack shaft with Go Power Sports adjustable jack shaft mounts, small sprocket going to a big sprocket on the axle, and the things we had to move around were the brakes. They went from this side to this side, and the suspension we moved from this rail to this inner rail. But everything works, and I think it looks pretty good.
Yeah, not too bad. It's a little dirty. It's kind of slimy. Hold open. Oh, there's fuel. We got fuel. Did you just like floor it?
I think I had like halfway.
Well, we jumped ahead a little bit here with the disassembly of this engine, but as y'all saw, it kind of took off. We started it again with just starter fluid and no carb, did the exact same thing. So we're thinking there's a lot of excess fuel in here, and since there's no gasket here and just hair, it's probably got a vacuum leak, or not a vacuum leak, but a crankcase leak, which acts kind of like a vacuum leak and is just pumping air into the engine and letting it run. Okay, so no play in the rods, no play in the crank. The cylinder walls, from what I can see, over by the exhaust port look perfectly fine. So this is a pretty solid engine. Our issues are that whoever sealed this up used like a little bit of RTV, but didn't even cover the whole thing. And there's 2 bolts missing from the front. So basically air is just rushing in. Our carb was probably running a little bit rich, and that was just letting this thing take off. So hopefully once we get all this cleaned up and sealed, it should run perfectly fine.
Y'all look at this.
It's actually disgusting. We thought this was hair. It's actually a clump of dead spiders. So nasty, man.
All right, so we're using Yamabond crankcase sealer. This stuff works great for us, and we're just trying to get as thin of a layer as possible, and then we'll have to clean up, any little bits we got on the crankshaft. All right, bottom end is all back together. We're gonna just kind of use the drill. Joe, hand over. We'll prime it first, and then we'll see. Got fuel. Okay, well the fact that it didn't run right there is already a good sign. All right, just give it a little bit of gas. Choke. Okay, ready? Yep. Dude, nice. Okay, yeah. Now we can start mounting this thing up. We were just waiting until it ran, so let's get going. It's engine time. Whoa. All right. Fits like a glove. Look at that. It honestly looks pretty clean. Like it's packaged, but it's not super cluttered.
We've got our carb on, and we've got a pulse pump from Go Power Sports. And hopefully this will keep fuel supplied to our carburetor when we're popping our wheelies.
Yeah, we're putting a lot of faith into this because we don't know if it will wheelie yet. But if it can do this, I'll be pretty happy. You know, dude, our wheelie bar has to be like
Stubby.
1 inch. So we switched out our stock gas tank for Predator. Really the only reason is because the pickup on the stock is up front, and then if we're doing wheelies, that won't be getting any gas. So the Predator is right here in the back. Somehow it just fits in perfectly. Honestly, looks kind of good. And it's also a little bit more away from our exhaust, so it's a little bit safer too. So a lot of plus sides of this.
And to wrap this up with a nice little bow, the Go Power Sports flag. Can I get some type of anthem going for this? It's beautiful.
Yeah, as y'all can see, this thing is really smoky, and even though it's a 2-stroke, we think this is a bit too much smoke. So we think it's running a little rich. Another good sign is that as soon as we even just touch the air filter here, it immediately shut off. So yeah, we're gonna see, we have some extra jets, we can kind of mess around with it, and hopefully that'll fix this. We ended up changing the jets in the carb from a 240 to a 170, so almost kind of a built Predator size carb jet. So a really big jump, so we're really thinking that this is not the stock carb. Saw some images online, none of them had this style carb, all of them were butterfly valve style carbs. So I don't know what's going on with that. It may still be running a little rich, we'll have to kind of do test and tune. But now it's good enough to drive, and we have a chain on there. We have a helmet over there. So I think we should see if this thing does some wheelies.
What happened?
Chain.
Chain popped off?
Yeah.
Yeah, our chain is loose.
Okay. Well, I mean, the Mini XRX is pretty awesome. It handles pretty well. You know, it's got a tight steering radius. The go-kart itself is pretty awesome. The stuff we didn't touch, the engine and jack shaft does need some more work. I mean, we just took the air filter off. It started running better and making more power. So it's definitely still too rich. So we're gonna have to lean those jets out even more. And then our jack shaft, you can probably hear our chain skipping. So we need, since our jack shaft's so long, we're probably gonna need to add another bearing, adjustable bearing hanger in the middle. And then off of that bearing hanger, we'll add a chain tensioner. So our chain will be tensioned, the jack shaft won't be bending as much, should be a lot more solid and more reliable. So that's the plans for now. Either way, it's pretty late in the night. We've been working on this thing for too long, so that's it for this episode. Thank you all for watching. We're super excited about this thing. So stay tuned for the next videos where we make this thing better and more safe and more reliable.
Thank you, Go Power Sports.
Thank you, Go Power Sports.